Evening and welcome to another edition of the Press Box, episode 46. I'm Brian Carson with my co-host Kenny Varner. How you doing, Kenny B?
Oh, not bad, Brian. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. We were only a week away from high school football season kicking off. Can you believe that?
That's crazy. It's the summer just kind of like flew by.
And we have a very busy man who decided to be nice enough to come on the show again, Billy Splain of Pennsylvania Football News. His time of the year, obviously. Billy, how you doing?
What's going on, gentlemen? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yep.
Beautiful.
This is your busy time of the year, my friend. Are you all getting excited? It's almost ready to kick off.
Well, let me correct you. My football year never ends, so I'm just as busy now. We've been doing player previews and team previews for the last 3 months, so busy. Well, I guess let's just say the turnover is different.
Gotcha, I forgot. Yeah, when you're covering it as thorough as you guys do, that's a all year thing, I guess, huh?
It certainly is.
What I want to do is, if you don't mind, since it's a high school preview show basically for us, going to go over your rankings, your preseason rankings. I always look forward to them and talk about. We'll go through each class and you can give us your thoughts on it, on the preseason rankings, and you and your team. How many of you do the rankings?
There's about 12 of us all over the state that do our rankings.
Okay, so you had to obviously get together for a big confab. The first thing I got to say, though, is I like what you guys decided about leaving the number one to start the year as the returning state champ.
Well, sometimes we do and sometimes we don't. It all depends on what we see. And this year, it was just we saw that all the teams that won state titles return a ton of people.
Not good for the rest of the state, is it?
No, it's not good for the rest of the state. I mean, Steel High returns almost everybody in 1A, almost their whole team. They're losing one or two guys. In 2A, Southern Columbia, we learned our lesson last year when we took them out of the rankings not to do that anymore.
Right.
So we'll just let that card lay on the table. In 3A, Bell Vernon, they return everybody, including their Penn State commit. 4A, Bishop McDevitt, just with Stone Saunders and the rest of those guys, they lost a few lineman and a receiver or two, but they just reloaded. And 5A, Pine Richland has the same cast, and Imhotep has the same cast too. And in 6A, St. Joe's Prep, if you didn't catch them last year, you're not catching them this year, I don't think.
Oh no, I agree with you. They impressed me so much. I watched that state game, and what was it, like the first 5 or 6 times they touched the ball, they scored?
Pretty much, yep.
And Harrisburg, with that, everybody was talking about their defense, and they just got ripped.
It's just a different planet. St. Joe's Prep is just on a different planet, and you got to catch them.
So since you brought it up, we're going to look here at 1A. You have Steel High, you just mentioned them, number 1, Bishop Canevin 2, Canton 3, Union 4, Northern Bedford 5, Muncie 6, Fort Cherry 7, Brockway 8, Lackawanna Trail 9, Lakeview 10. Just give us your overall thoughts on 1A.
So before we even start on the rankings, I just want to let everybody know we get a lot of comments about, how is our honorable mentions, how is Clareton ahead of Minersville, or how does Tribes? Our honorable mentions, the 5 teams that we put every week, is basically a tie for 11th place.
Okay.
So any one of those teams could move up into the 10th spot if somebody loses. But, 1A, Steel High returns everybody. Canevin has a good core back from a team that imploded against the Union team in the WPIAL finals last year. I felt like Canevin just couldn't – they couldn't stop shooting themselves in the foot. And, number 3, Canton, they're just a strong program up there in the northern section of the state, and they do things right. Northern Bedford, Barry Black has things rolling at Northern Bedford. They've got a couple of really good football players. Muncie is always tough in District 4. Fort Cherry has that's one where I'm going to try and turn my microphone down here. That's one where their quarterback Matt Sig is going to make a difference. He's an incoming senior now. He threw for 1,500 yards last year, and he's going to be good. Brockway has a real good core of teams coming back that from a team that did pretty good last year, 8-5. Lackawanna Trail returns nearly their entire team, and Lakeview is going to be that's a surprise pick for us.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. You saw like last year 6-5. So you think that could be the shocker team in single A?
In District 10, yeah. I mean, Lakeview looks really strong. They return a good core of their players, and I think they're going to have a good season. A couple of those 5 losses were tight losses. So I think Lakeview comes out of District 10 this year.
Anybody? I mean, I know the season's not even started yet, and it's all speculation, but is there anybody not in the honorable mention you think could crack through in single A?
Well, there's a few teams, but I mean, these are those 5 teams are the next 5 up is how we feel. I could name 3 or 4 or 5 different teams that might have a shot at cracking the countdown, but we're pretty confident with what we have right there.
All right, let's go to 2A. You have, of course, Southern Columbia, number 1, Farrell, number 2, Trinity, 3, Steel Valley, 4, Dunmore, 5, Richland, 6, Executive Education, 7, Westinghouse, 8, Beaver Falls, 9, Central Clarion, 10th. And then Berlin, McGuffey, Mount Carmel, Guilfoyle, and Schuylkill Haven, honorable mention. Can anybody get near Southern?
Sure. Farrell is loaded this year. Farrell has a really good football team. Dunmore has a very experienced football team coming back, and of course Trinity, with their they brought in Mike Maudie to help coach there with Jordan Hill. I mean, that's a pretty good coaching staff right there.
Oh yeah.
They've made some changes, and they've got a really good running back who was just he was a freshman last year, Messiah Mickens, and he's going to be very tough to bring down this year. He's put on some weight and put on a little speed and strength. So Trinity looks really good this year. Steel Valley has a couple of D1 recruits, and they looked pretty good this summer. I seen them in the 7-on-7. They look good. Richland always is good. Brandon Bailey does a great job down there. Executive Education, they're going into their 4th year. I think it's their 3rd year, and they've done just a wonderful job down there. Now, Westinghouse played in the state title game last year, but with the couple of guys they lost and the way they lost that game, I just I don't know if they're a top 3 team or not. We'll let those chips fall where they are. Beaver Falls always tough, and Central Clarion only lost 1 player from a team that went 10-2 last year.
So, well, they're all good, or they wouldn't be in the top 10. But that sounds like Double A is going to be pretty competitive once again.
You're not going to ask me about Schuylkill Haven?
Okay. I was getting ready to go down to the honorable mentions, but I wanted to talk about that top 10. But it does stand out in your eyes. You got a team that was 2-8, and they are honorable mention. What's going on there?
Mike Farr, of course. Mike Farr was the head coach of the Big 33 team that squeaked by Maryland this year with a big win. Talk with Mike Farr. I've seen the guys that he has. Some of those losses they had last year were tight losses. I think this is the year. Schuylkill Haven may actually be a year away. He returns. I think he played 7 sophomores last year, or freshmen last year, and he's playing 7 sophomores this year.
Oh my God!
So those kids have experience, and they're all big kids. Aiden Myers is a good athlete for them at running back. So I think they're going to be a team that you need to deal with out of District 11.
How many comments did you get about them?
I don't read the comments.
Oh, there you go. You're a smart man.
I never read the comments, and we have the comments on our website turned off. But on social media, People leave comments. I just don't bother reading them because I don't want to get in a argument with anyone. And there's really no reason for me to argue. These are just rankings that what our staff feels could happen. Although at the end of the season last year, my staff was 75% with the teams that are in the preseason compared to the last rankings of the year. We had 75%. Now they weren't
Wow,
all in the spot they started out with in the preseason, but we were at 75%.
that's pretty good. That's very good.
Obviously, Union was a surprise, and nobody had those guys ranked, and they shot up through in single A.
So now I'm going to keep my eyes each Friday on Schuylkill Haven. That's going to be interesting, being that young.
It is worth watching. They are worth watching. And you know how Cole Region is.
Oh, yeah. We go to AAA. Bell Vernon, number 1. Newman Goretti, 2. Wyomissing, 3. Danville, 4. Loyalsock, 5. Grove City, 6. Elizabeth Forward, 7th. North Schuylkill, 8th. West Perry, 9th. Notre Dame Green Pond, 10th. And then Northwestern Lehigh Central, Lancaster Catholic, Scranton Prep. We got another team with a losing record, 5-6 last year, Hickory. But let's get to the top 10 first.
Bell Vernon, you can't overlook a team that has Quentin Martin, the Penn State commit, coming back. He's an athlete, a defensive back, running back. He can play quarterback. He can do it all. And they have a very good nucleus of the team that won the state title last year. Newman Goretti also returns a good nucleus, although they have to replace their quarterback. Wyomissing just reloads every year. I mean, Bob Wolfram is one of the best coaches in the state of Pennsylvania, and they're loaded again. Danville, new coach there, Carl Major, former Berwick football player. He used to coach semi-pro. He coached at Northwest twice down below Berwick. Both times he took them to the playoffs. I think Danville is a very tough team. They've got a quarterback named Madden Patrick, who is just, you're going to hear comparisons to another famous quarterback from down that way years ago, Ron Wallace.
Yeah, when you were on last year, we talked about Danville a little bit, and you said last year how good they were getting, how good they were.
Yeah, Danville, and then you've got Loyalsock right there. That's going to be a battle.
Yeah.
So Loyalsock with Tyler G. They've had a couple of guys transfer in from Williamsport last spring. Tyler G. leads the way. Just a really, really good athlete. They're loaded. So, that's a District 4 battle right there. That's going to come down to the wire. That's going to be a great game. This year, they play the regular season game in Danville. It was at Loyalsock last year. Both games went down to the wire. Just really, really good battles. Grove City is loaded. They came out of District 10 last year. Grove City is just loaded. They've got some good football players up there. Elizabeth Forward, always a good football team. North Schuylkill, Wally Hall does a great job with North Schuylkill over there down towards Mount Carmel. West Perry has their three-headed monster returning, their quarterback, wide receiver, and their running back. So they're going to be very good. And Notre Dame Green Pond, who just edged out, returns almost their entire team.
Yeah, Green Pond. More, it's interesting that it's pretty cool that they're football too. They've been known for wrestling for many years. And now obviously their football team's coming on.
Yeah, they're Phil Stanball. We actually had Phil Stanball on our program on Sunday down in Berwick. As a matter of fact, we had Danville on our program as well, and North Schuylkill. So we had 3 of the teams in the top 10 in AAA on our program on Sunday down in Berwick. We also
nice. It
was a good program.
Is that a live stream?
Yeah, we did a live stream. We do it every year. It's called the Season Rollout Coaches Cookout. We had 20 coaches on there, and they brought players, and it was at Berwick. And at the end of the game, or at the end of the show, we honored George Curry, and it was a very special day.
Nice. Is that the PA Football News or?
Yep, it's called the
Okay.
State of PA Football, the season rollout coaches cookout. We do it with Joe Gilloway down in Harrisburg from the Lingless Town Gazette. That was our third
Oh, okay.
annual.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
our third
cool.
annual edition. It was a great show. It was a great show. Then, if we want to get back to the rankings, Northwestern Lehigh, they're an honorable mention. I don't even know if they should be in as an honorable mention, but we kind of kept them in there because of their strong season they had last year. They lost. This is the typical. They lost everyone.
Oh,
They
wow.
Central Martinsburg as well. Everyone's name was Jeff Hohenstein, who broke all kind of records last year. And so I don't know. They were another team that we left in just to see how good they were going to be. Lancaster Catholic should be a strong team. Scranton Prep lost their running back, who never played it down last year, and they still finished 9-4. He's off to Penn State. And Hickory is another one of those teams up in District 10. Hickory, Slippery Rock, Grove City. They all just beat the snot out of each other. It's fun to watch.
Absolutely. So in 3A, anybody there you feel can challenge? Let's go back to 3A. Anybody there you feel can? Besides, I mean, obviously, Goretti and Bell Vernon had a fantastic state championship game. Why I'm missing's there. I know in Danville, you think it's and Loyalsock, those five, or
I think any of those top 7 teams are contenders, and I think North Schuylkill, West Perry, and Notre Dame Green Pond also have the talent to make it to the state championship game. 3A is much stronger than it was last year. That's a very strong top 10, we feel.
oh yeah, I'd have to agree. Just look at the records of those guys from last year. Now we go to 4A, and somebody we see personally down here in Mifflin County, Bishop McDevitt, number 1, Aliquippa 2, Thomas Jefferson 3, Allentown Central Catholic 4, Manheim Central 5, Pope John Paul II 6th, Bonner Prendy 7th, Jersey Shore 8th, Mars 9th, Lampeter Strasburg 10th, and then Meadville, Selinsgrove, Central Valley, McKeesport, and Twin Valley honorable mention. Sanders, can anybody stop him?
It's going to be tough to stop Mixer McDevitt, but there are several teams right there named that can do it. Aliquippa, once again, they've got Tequai Hayes coming back, Tyke Hayes, and they're strong. They've lost some members on the line. They got to replace their line, but you never count out Aliquippa. They're always strong. Thomas Jefferson is loaded. Thomas Jefferson could very well be the team that comes out of District 7. Allentown Central Catholic is also loaded. They've got a lot of talent back from last year, but the two teams that you really want to circle are Manheim Central and PJP. Those two teams, Manheim Central is probably one of the strongest teams that Dave Hahn and the Barons have had there since back in the day when they used to meet Berwick in the state playoffs.
Yeah, they definitely have tradition, Manheim Central, no doubt about that. Jersey Shore, too. Tom Gravish has done a great job up there at Jersey Shore.
Yeah, I love Tommy Gravish. He does a great job. We had those guys. We didn't have Tommy, but we had a bunch of their players on the show. They just reload every year. Tommy Gravish is great. Now, Mars is one also to watch out for. They had a respectable 6-5, but their head coach is a very familiar name. His name is Eric Kasparevich, and, of course, we know he took Pine Richland to a state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Lampeter Strasburg always strong, and they return a good core of the team that finished 9-3 last year. Up in District 10, Meadville, and the honorable mention, Meadville, their toughest game to start the season is Corey, and then I don't think they lose a game until the 8th game of the season when they face McDowell. It was a 6A team, so, and then I think that's when they take their first loss of the season. Selinsgrove, good team this year. They have a good returning core coming back. McKeesport always plays tough, but Twin Valley is a sleeper here. Brett Myers has a team. His son is the quarterback, and Twin Valley has some very, very good athletes. We're waiting to see what they do. They could make a lot of noise, Twin Valley, in 4A. They could actually, be seeing Manheim Central in the playoffs for a chance to play McDevitt.
Wow. Okay. So from what I get there, it's McDevitt and then a whole bunch of people they may meet.
That's true. That's a good way to put it. But I mean, I think last year's team at McDevitt was stronger than this year's team, I believe.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember. I'm horrible with names. Who's the receiver they lost to college? McDevitt.
They lost a couple of receivers last year.
He was really good. Why is my brain going?
You cover him, so you could know better than I did.
I don't remember, but it doesn't matter with him, with their quarterback.
You know what? His name's coming to me. He played in the Big 33 game this year.
Yeah.
And what was his name? Boy, I hate that too. I cover so many kids. It's hard for me to remember all.
We'll figure it out then. It'll come to us.
Yeah, it'll come to us. Marquise Williams is also one. They lost the running back. Rico Scott was the wide receiver.
There you go. Exactly. But that, Stone, he can. My God, what was it last year? 54 touchdowns.
Yes, the
other.
Very good year.
Great. All right, 5A, number 1, Pine Richland. Number 2, Imhotep. Number 3, Erie Prep. 4, Cacalico. 5, Westchester Ruston. 6, Penn Hills. 7, Delaware Valley. 8, Strathaven. 9, Roman Catholic. 10, Upper Dublin. And then honorable mention, Bethel Park, Plymouth Whitemarsh, Whitehall, Malvern Prep, and Gettysburg. So can anybody stop Pine Richland?
Yes, Cathedral Prep can do it. Cacalico can do it. Westchester Ruston, very strong team coming back. 5A last year and this year it's been a very difficult classification to figure out. Of course, last year we had Upper Dublin just basically ran the table, and then they ran into a very strong Imhotep team. Who 2 of those losses came against national teams. For Imhotep, so basically you really can't count 2 of those losses. So they were 9-1 pretty much and their loss came against Pine Richland. But very strong team. Imhotep looks very good. Has a good core of that team back. Cathedral Prep has just about their entire team back this year. Yeah, you're noticing a theme. Pennsylvania was young last year.
Yeah. Definitely noticing that, because you're mentioning a lot about a lot of teams. Mostly everybody's coming back.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. Pennsylvania was very young last year, but Cocalico is very strong this year. They've got a lot of guys coming back, and it's going to be fun to see what they do. Westchester Ruston, very good team down in District 1. They return a good portion of the team that went 11-2, and they lost in the playoffs by 1 score. It was a very close end of the game score. Delaware Valley is a team who I don't think they're going to be 7-6 this year. I think they're going to win more football games than what you see. Although with their schedule, they could end up, they could have 3 losses right off the gate.
That bad, huh? That tough.
They opened up with some strong teams, and that's the way it rolled out last year for them. But they never recovered from the beginning.
I see number 8 there, Strathaven. That'll have Dave Berman happy.
Yeah, Del Val opens up with Selinsgrove. Then they have Harrisburg. Then they have Downingtown East. So that's
my God.
Now, I'm interested in the Selinsgrove game. That could be an interesting game.
Definitely.
Strathaven, always strong. They're going to be strong again this year. I think Roman Catholic has, like, last count, 21 people with 21 players with D1 offers. So I think this is the year Coach Preet has a chance. He's got to get past Imhotep this year. And he has a chance to do that. He's got a good football team. Upper Dublin, of course, missing their all-state, all-star quarterback, moved on to the University of Penn. But they're still going to be strong. Brett Stover does a good job at Upper Dublin, and they're always a contender year in and year out. The rest of the guys, Whitehall, if you remember, Whitehall made a surprise big run in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
They returned a good portion of that team. Malvern Prep we rank because they're never going to get to the state playoffs because they're in the Interact, but we give everybody love in the state. The Interact we cover, so we put them there. Gettysburg is also an interesting team. Gettysburg returns a good portion of their team, and the coach's son there is also their quarterback. They played very well last year, a good, respectable 8-3 season, and I think Gettysburg has a chance to make some noise for 3. Malvern Prep is very. I just want to mention their quarterback is an outstanding quarterback, and he's just a junior this year, and so they're going to be a pretty good team and a force to be reckoned with as well.
Good. I mean, you don't hear much about Gettysburg as far as football goes, so it's nice that they're coming on.
Yeah, it is nice.
All right, let's go to 6A, the big boys, and we can say it right. Nobody's going to beat them, are they?
It's going to take a very, 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 very good team to beat them on a perfect day.
So we got St. Joe's Prep number 1, Pittsburgh Central Catholic 2, North Allegheny 3, Garnet Valley 4, Little Lions State College 5, Coatesville 6, Mid-Penn Commonwealth rival of state, Harrisburg at 7, Central Bucks West at 8, Nazareth 9, Wilson Westlawn 10, McDowell, Parkland, Downingtown East and West, and Seneca Valley in the honorable mentions. Since we know what St. Joe's is going to do, talk about some of these other teams you think have a chance to at least get there and face them.
I think Pittsburgh Central Catholic has a really good chance. They've got a new coach in there now. Coach Taunton is gone. I was never a fan of Coach Taunton's style. He used to have all those athletes out at Central Catholic, and they never threw the ball. This year, the ball is going to be launched often and far for Central Catholic. They have 120 kids out for their team, including 9th graders this year.
Oh, my God.
It's like
man.
Yes, North Allegheny returns a good core, including their quarterback, from a team that got beat by a pretty decent state college team in the quarterfinals last year. Garnet Valley, always strong. They're going to be strong again this year. State College, they're kind of a question mark right now because from what I understand, they've got that great running back, but their quarterback is out for probably the regular season. Broke his hand.
My.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that. Yeah, I didn't hear that. I mean, I know they're going to ride Dante Sheffy quite a bit.
Yeah. So they're going to be relying on a young, inexperienced quarterback. Coatesville, always good. Harrisburg, always good. You could probably swap those 3 teams around. It doesn't matter. Central Bucks West with 3 Division I recruits, 2 of them committed already. Out of District 11 is one of my favorites. District 11, the EPC South, and the league that State College and Harrisburg in are 2 of the toughest conferences in the state. I would rank them tie at number 1 as far as difficulty in the state. Parkland, You've got all those Bethlehem Catholic, Allentown Central Catholic. They all just beat the living daylights. So Freedom, we don't have Freedom ranked. They were ranked at the end of last year, Bethlehem Freedom, but they lost 23 seniors off that team that went to the semifinals.
Wow.
So they took a hit. Wilson, always a good football team. Coach Jeffrey Dom or Doug Dom, what a great guy he is. Wilson looks pretty strong, although they lost their big 33 star and their long threat, Cam Jones, who moved on, and Cam Jones was a huge threat for them. But I have a feeling they have guys in the backfield waiting for their opportunity. McDowell, always strong out of District 10. They're going to be good this year. I don't know if they're going to be great good, but they're going to be pretty good. And Parkland is going to – they kind of let us down last year. That's another team that returns a lot of guys. Downingtown East, good running back, good line. I think they're going to be very good. And the East-West game is going to be a great football game right there. It always is. And, 6A is tough, so we went with Seneca Valley. They let us down every year, but, we're going to give them another shot. That's our rankings. So to summarize, yes, I think St. Joe's can be beat by either Central Catholic, North Allegheny, or maybe Garnet Valley if they.
And you're right though. You're going to have a perfect game.
Perfect.
Their quarterback Jones, he's going to Cincy, right?
Yep. And if you're interested, the media football game or baseball game is 0-0 halfway through the game.
0-0. We got a live score update.
Look at that. I'm keeping track of the media Little League team out of Southeast PA. We actually, one of our writers also works for the Delco Times baseball. And Delco Baseball, and he writes for that website. And he's actually there covering that game right now. So we have a writer who covers baseball and football, and his team, the team that he covers down in the Delaware County, is in Williamsport right now.
Nice.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Definitely. So I know it's subjective in that. Do you have a favorite player that who maybe you like to watch or you think is the best player in the state?
Well, I mean, I'd like to see Quentin Martin step it up. He was a little bit dinged up last year, and I think he's one of the better players in the state. Emilio Ologard from St. Joe's Prep, what a defensive back he is. He's a great football player as well. But there's a couple other guys that I really want to see. Malachi Williams out of Bonner Friendly, the tight end and defensive end. He's a Penn State commit. Just a really good football player. One of the under-recruited guys, he committed to Lehigh this year. I don't have a favorite. I have a couple of guys who I'm looking at. Matt Machalik out of Palmerton. He's the quarterback. Just broke all kind of records. He's a little guy. He's not huge. 6 foot, 200 pound, just a very good football player. Out of West Perry, Marcus Quaker, the quarterback there, good football player. I watched him play twice last year, but here's my underdog. This is my underdog in the whole state. I'm hoping he has a good senior season and picks up a couple more Division I offers, and that is the linebacker athlete at West Shamokin Blue Sports. Got to see him a couple times this summer. He is just a tank. He's built like a brick house. He's just strong. I like the way he plays linebacker. I like the way he plays on offense. They use him at quarterback. They use him at running back. They use him at the slot. So just a really good football player all the way around.
Nice. I watched.
Let's talk.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that about what's some of your thoughts locally.
Cam Watkins out of Bald Eagle area, and Eric Clark, the lineman out of Bald Eagle area, two very good football players.
Yeah, Watkins, I think, had 50 catches last year, and then on linebacker, defensive end, edge kind of guy, 10.5 sacks.
Yeah, he's going to be a linebacker this year. Yeah, they're going to line him up at linebacker, and well, they're going to move him all over the place. So he's going to be tough to stop when if we're talking local. But I mean, locally, obviously, we're talking about Sheffy over
Yeah.
at college as well. I'll tell you who slips under the radar because they don't do anything through the summer, so you don't know what they're doing, and that's Penns Valley.
You
But I think
bet.
they're going to be a very good team this year.
I agree with you, my friend. Jackson Romig at quarterback, Ty Watson. They're going to be a good football team.
Ty Watson is probably one of the best athletes in the area right now.
No doubt.
Kenny, what
No-
are your thoughts on the new league, Kenny?
No, I think they should have kept it a mountain league. My personal opinion. I know they're going to be playing better teams when in this new league, but I think they should have just kept it the way it was.
What do you think, Billy?
I'm the opposite of Kenny. I liked the Mountain League, but it was struggling and teams were leaving. Ironically, the old Mountain League is actually back together now with Central and Penns Valley and
Yeah.
But I'm one of those guys that would like to see District 6 do like District 7 and just have, bring the whole district in and split it up. And let's do it that way. One of the things I think one of the biggest crimes, I don't know how you feel about this, Kenny, is how they locked Hollidaysburg out of the football conference when Hollidaysburg plays most of the teams in that conference. I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the conferences that they have. I mean, Bishop Guilfoyle would play them, and Central plays them. They could play Johnstown as a 5A school. They certainly could play Johnstown. Clearfield is a larger 3A school. I think that they should have left Hollidaysburg in.
Oh, definitely.
Why didn't you? Why do you think they didn't?
Well, I think some of the coaches are afraid of a bigger team.
Makes sense, but I've always been that believer. If your team's good, you don't worry about who you're playing. I mean, you talk about Southern's 2A, and they could beat 6A teams.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And I just wish they would have left Hollidaysburg in. Homer Delatry is a great, great coach. Great guy. I love him. He does a lot for this football, and he does a lot for the state with his interactions with the PSFCA and how he runs the Big 33 or the East-West games. He's in charge of that. So he does a great game. He does a great job there. Tell me a little bit about you guys your team down there in Mifflin County. Let's talk about Mifflin County on a bounce back. They've got a new stadium being built, all kind of stuff going on in Mifflin County.
Yeah, they're trying to get that under the works. It would be a sports complex that would, with a cost of about $15 million, if they can get it. They want to have a stadium and then new track, new baseball and softball fields with bleachers up there, all by the high school. There's a buzz around here. I mean, they were 6-5 last year, and they got most of their starters back on offense except a couple linemen. And defensively, they lost some good players, Brody Rischel and Ettinger and Reagan Ettinger and Isaac Wilson, but they're pretty pumped around here, and except for they really believe they can be in every game. I doubt McDevitt they'll be in. That's just being realistic. But the Mid-Penn Keystone, I don't know what you think of the Mid-Penn Keystone, Cedar Cliff, and that, but Cedar Cliff is okay, but they're not what they were. And no. I expect Mifflin County to have a really good season, and everybody down here is kind of pumped about it. They were pumped last year about 6-5, but their non-conference isn't that tough. They have Shikellamy, Central Mountain, and then Altoona, and then their Keystone schedule. But I said it on the air here, and I'm not putting pressure on them if they're listening. I honestly think they could go 9-1.
I think they're on the verge. I think they're coming back. I think coach does a great job with them, and I really like to see them bump up another class and get back up where they belong.
Yeah, you mean
Yeah, I
in the
understand the baby steps.
Commonwealth,
Yeah, I understand the baby steps though. They need to bring the program back to what it could
right?
be.
The
Right.
thing I like about what Shane Breon has done is these guys. And if you look at Mifflin County teams in the past, they either wouldn't or couldn't. But these guys pass now. I mean, they have Deacon Schaefer, but I think, Shane brought that up from Central York, that type of shotgun offense. And I think it threw teams off last year that were expecting just a ground and pound Mifflin County team.
Well, Shane's a native. The one thing he has to do, and the one thing he's talked about is, getting his system into the midget football, and getting the youth leagues ready, and bringing it down into the junior high programming, getting them used to it. Schools don't give new coaches enough time to build a program in today's world. Everybody needs to win now, and I think if they give him some time, I think he'll bring some of that Central York tradition with on up into Mifflin County.
The question I have is like getting kids out, and the thing that was encouraging is I talked to him yesterday, and he had 35 kids in the weight room, pretty consistent over the summer. And in the past, that didn't happen at Mifflin County. I remember one year under Brent Hartman where he only had 9 kids in the summer weightlifting program.
Yeah, that's important. It's key. You definitely need to have those kids in the weight room and buying into the program.
And
That's your first step.
and football has such a negative connotation down here over the years because of Lewistown and their futility that a lot of kids, a lot of good athletes didn't go out for football. And I'm hoping with what Shane started to do last year, it can get kids out, because the problem with Mifflin County is, and it's been in the past, and it was that way with Indian Valley too under Stoker. They'd have a really good class, and then they would graduate, and then you'd have this gap where nobody, a class came up that wasn't that good. It wasn't consistent, like you see with the traditional winners, Southern and that, just reloading, and Mifflin County hasn't been able to do that.
Yep, it's all about building.
We do have an update from Little League Baseball, one of our listeners. 2-0
Yep.
in the top of the 4th.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
That's okay. That's okay. This team has been behind before. They can come back. This is a great time of the year. I love the Little League World Series. The Little League Series World Series is kind of like what high school football is. It's pure sport. It's kids going out and they play from their heart, not from their wallets and not from their egos. It's pure sport. It's one of the reasons I personally love high school football, because those kids are out there because they love to be out there and they just want to go play football.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000% agree with you. Because college is almost pro now with the NIL and the transfer portal and all this stuff. High school and the youth is still pure. It's doing it because you love it. And it's so refreshing. Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people were worried about NIL coming into the high school ranks, but me personally, I think it's a nothing burger, and I think it's going to be a nothing burger. I mean, honestly, the way the NILs are structured for high school, you can't use your school. You can't use the fact that you play on the team. You can't use your school. I mean, basically, how many people? Let's just use Mifflin County. How many people in Mifflin County know what their starting quarterback looks like?
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. How many people in the stands on a Friday night know what that quarterback looks like without his helmet on?
Right.
Right?
Not many. Not
Not
many.
many. So what's that worth in Mifflin County?
Very little.
Yeah.
All right, Quentin Martin. Do you know what Quentin Martin looks like?
Actually, I do. I watched him last year in States, but it was through a helmet. So I wouldn't know him
But
without his helmet, to be honest.
Right. Do you know what his face looks like?
No.
Would you recognize him if he walked up and talked to you?
No.
And he can't talk about Bell Vernon. He can't tell you he's a quarterback at Bell Vernon. He can't tell you he goes to school at Bell Vernon. All he can say is, "Would you like to buy this sweatshirt or this insurance policy?" What's that?
Yeah.
What's that worth to a? It might be worth something to an auto owner or something like that, or maybe one of these NIL conservative groups that is after they're putting money behind the college kids, at Penn State where you have 10 kids that drive Teslas around town. And so maybe they say, hey, let's throw some money at this high school kid. Maybe he'll come to Penn State. Yeah, he has to accept it. And then you got another company that maybe says, hey, maybe we can get him to Ohio State. We'll throw him a little money. Then he's getting into an area where he has to be careful, or a player has to be careful who he's taking money from. So there's just a whole can of worms that can open for a high school kid. Coaches are monitoring it. For me, I would just tell the kid, you know what? If somebody wants to give you a free couple of T-shirts, take it. Throw their name out there once in a while, but wait till you get to school. You're not going to get that much money, and why take a chance? Why take a chance on blowing your senior season or your junior season in high school by making a mistake with a company? Why do that?
Right. I agree.
Definitely.
Now, there are parents there who could ruin things.
They always do.
But, that's another story for another show, maybe.
How about it?
Referees, if anybody's out there listening, when you're listening, if you know somebody who loves high school football, send them to the PAAA website. Tell them to be a referee. Be a part of the game. We need referees real bad out here.
Unfortunately,
games lined up.
Unfortunately, Billy, that's in all sports, isn't it? Where they need officials badly.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple Thursday games lined up, already. So we're getting ready to do some Thursday night football. For me, it's great. I'm happy with it. I get to go cover football games on Thursday nights. There's a couple mid-pen games that are on Thursday nights. So bring it. Let's do it.
Why not?
Yeah.
So what's the first game you're going to next week?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. Every year I'm a part of we do a thing every year. Me and Ron Corsi, he was out at Woodland Hills for a couple of years. He was at Mechanicsburg last year. And this year he's down at York Suburban as the athletic director. So it's the York Rose Bowl Kickoff Classic. Did you know York was famous for roses?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
Me either. But they are.
Huh.
I should know that because actually my wife and daughter have a flower shop here in Rebersburg, and one of their main suppliers is from York. So I should know that, but I don't. So, Friday, August 25th at 5:30, we have York Tech and James Buchanan. And then at 8:30, it's York Suburban and East Penn. And then on Saturday, we have Imhotep versus Life Christian out of Delaware. And Steel High and Amani, which is a huge, huge game. That's a big game. Amani's loaded with some talent, too. So that's a pretty big game right there. And then York High versus Harrisburg. So I get to be going to three of our ranked teams on Saturday.
Nice.
Busy man. You got me tired just talking about it.
Yeah. It is. It does make for a long weekend, but, I'll have some other people there to help me out.
So what do you? How long have you been doing this now?
Since about 1998. Yep.
Uh,
Wow.
what is it? What is it keeps you going? I like to for guys that have been in covering sports a long time. Kenny, myself. What keeps you going with the football? Because it's we know how much work you have to put into it.
I just love the purity of it, of high school football, and I love helping kids out. And by giving them publicity and helping them out where newspapers are failing to be recognized. I do a lot with our church youth group, and you know I just enjoy being a part of the purity of high school football. I love the camaraderie. I love the friends I make. I'm involved in the Big 33. I'm involved with the Coaches Association. I help the PIAA out whenever they ask for help. I love doing it.
That is awesome. That's the best. That's a answer I was looking for, actually. So
Yeah,
hey,
it's a pleasure to do this.
well, we are always thrilled when you come on. So please come back, please, please.
Anytime, just give me a holler, buddy. I'm available.
Because I know you're busy now. You got your own live stream, the talk circuit. Now you're hitting. Jed Donahue's going to be hitting you up quite a bit. We were talking
Jed and I are
about.
we're going to be doing a Tuesday show.
Yeah, we were talking about it, Jed and I. I told him you'd be the guy to get. Definitely to talk high school football.
Do a show on Tuesdays. It's going to be fun. And then Wednesdays, it's going to be tough to get me, but Wednesdays, I've got my own show that I do all over the state. Next week, I'm in York, of course. And then the following week, I'm up in Wilkes-Barre. And then the week after that, I'll be out in Pittsburgh. And then the week after that, I'm hoping to be home right here in Bellefonte. Kenny, you might want to come over to that. We're going to be over at what's the name of it? The Robin Hood Brewing Company.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We want to get Bellefonte State College and Bald Eagle over there and have a pizza eating contest.
Oh, that'll be cool.
I'll keep you posted on that one, Kenny, so you can come over and watch that.
Definitely.
Awesome. Busy stuff. And you can also, obviously, at PA Football News, you can find Billy and his writing and his rankings. And we're always thrilled when he comes on. I'm excited. High school football's back. Any final words, Billy?
Let's line them up and crack some pads.
There you go. Kenny, I didn't ask you. Billy's told me, where are you going next Friday?
I am going to be right in the center part of Lewistown covering the Central Mountain Mifflin County game.
Nice.
I wish you guys the best of a season too, Kenny. I'm sure we'll cross paths somewhere around. We almost do.
Yep.
All right, Billy. Thank you very much, and I'll be listening to your show with Jed on Tuesdays.
Okay, great to hear. All right, have a great season, guys. Thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate the chance to talk to you guys.
Thank you, Billy.
Take care.
See ya. Always great, isn't it, Kenny, to have Billy Splain on. The guy's so knowledgeable about high school football. Just amazing, how much he knows.
Yeah, and it's great. Especially when you see him on the sidelines, he always helps you, gives you little tidbits of information that you wouldn't have known any other one. It's just great to see him out there, and he's having fun and enjoying himself, and we all do when we're out there, and it's great to love his publication. Just a fun guy to be around.
Well, before we leave here, we still got 5 minutes of our hour. We talked about Mifflin County and Penns Valley and BEA with him.
Right.
And State College, obviously, but we still got some other local ones that we didn't talk about, and that's Juniata, PO, Phillipsburg, and Bellefonte. So Why don't we run through them real quick?
Okay.
Juniata was 8-4 last year, the district 6-9 champions. They lost to Meadville in the state playoffs, but Kurt Kondo, good guy, but it could be some trouble this year because he lost a lot, especially in the skill positions with, I believe, what was his name? Sankey, the quarterback.
Yes. Jake. Yeah.
And he lost Aaron Zeller at tailback. A lot of skill position guys gone from the Indians.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I've also during the season last year, there were excuse me, losing my voice. There were a lot of other younger guys that filled in for Aaron Zeller. If you remember, he got injured there towards the end of the season, and they had to basically do running back by committee. And a lot of younger players got a chance to get out there, get some positive playing time, and actually did some good work for him. So, though Aaron Zeller's gone, I think that Condo and company can get the running game to where it needs to be. Like I said, maybe by a running back by committee to start.
Well, one good thing they got, a guy I was impressed with is Jasper Sheps
Yes.
as a freshman last year because I was their game with Meadville State playoff game I saw, and he's pretty impressive last year for a freshman. Now another year older, more mature. I look for him to have a big year for the Indians.
Almost definitely. It seemed like last year, every time you looked, his name was on the interception board. So for Juniata, so he'll play a big key, a little bit more of a probably a team captain, sort of, um, get the defense going.
Absolutely, and then we got two of the teams, and it was really impressive because of our of the press box. What we are ours is Mifflin, Juniata, Center counties.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 7 teams in the area, 5 went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So we have 2 that are rebuilding. Phillipsburg 3-7 last year, Bellefonte 1-9, and we mentioned them last week. Tony Confer, brand new coach for the Red Raiders. You see these guys more than I do. What are your thoughts on PO and Bellefonte?
Oh, I think this has a chance to be like a deja vu situation in the local sports area. If you remember when Coach Breon came on, he immediately changed the culture, made the kids buy into the system, had a lot of interaction with the kids. Um, and the same has gone for Confer as well. They seem to be working hard for the new coach. They do a lot of stuff off the field as well as on the field, so they definitely have a tight knit group there. And like Billy said, there's probably going to have a pizza eating contest, and that's just the kind of stuff that Confer has done. Different things, outings for the kids, kind of as a bonding, So the only thing that might hinder their progress right away is the merger into the Laurel Highlands, because that's a pretty tough conference to get into. But there will be improvement, and hopefully not the MASH unit that we saw last year, where they had a lot of players injured for most of the season.
Yeah, that there you can't control. That's just bad luck.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens sometimes. So hopefully they can stay healthy. It's always interesting to see, what a new coach can do. And sometimes he does spark them quick, So who knows? Just because they were 1-9, and then Phillipsburg 3-7, won 2 of their last 3 games to end the season, and looked like Jeff Broman making his second stint at Phillipsburg. Looked like he was getting them on track a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they just hopefully can get some depth. I'm not sure how big the team was last year, but I know the previous 2 years they barely had enough to make a team. In fact, I think one season they canceled because of the they had freshmen coming up. and starting and getting injured. So um, winning those 2 out of 3 will give the kids some spark going into the season. They just here again, they're going into the same situation. Belfont going into that new Laurel Highlands. So, but I can see both of them improving to at least winning 3 or 4 games this season.
I know the theme of the night, what we all talked about, you and me and uh, and Billy is they Phillipsburg has and Belfont have a lot of people coming back too.
Mm-hmm.
So another year older always helps.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And sometimes when you get beat around so much your first year, you want to get a little revenge the next year. You're ready to go, and you're not going to let the same thing happen to you that happened to you the year before.
So we are going to wrap this up tonight. Next week, we're going to try to get Shane Breon on, Mifflin County head football coach, to talk about Central Mountain and the opening of the season for the Huskies. It's football, baby. I love it, Kenny.
I love it. It's like the calm before the storm right now.
You bet. Wish I could get out there and get into the press box, but that ain't happening. but I'll still there's thank God for streaming. I can watch games.
Technology has been fun. I mean, been kind too.
Yes. I'll definitely check it out since they're home. It's going to be streamed, so we'll see what the Mifflin County Huskies do to start the season in 2023. Do you have any shout outs, my friend?
This week I might as well have laryngitis because I have no shout outs.
I actually have one.
Nice.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to play your music.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'm stealing Kenny's music tonight for feeding the ducks and a shout out, but it's not a local guy. Mitchell Mesenbrink, Penn State fresh. He's a Penn State transfer. He was at Cal Baptist last year, and he went into the transfer portal to Penn State. He's going to be at 165 pounds. He yesterday won the under 20 junior world championship.
Wow.
So he is a world champion, and he's in the wrestling room now with the Nittany Lions.
You just add him to that dream team you have already.
I am Mitchell Mesenbrink. It's like you've got a recruiting class that was top 5. You got the transfers in the transfer portal, 2 All-Americans, and now a world champion. Because he redshirted last year at Cal Baptist. So he's still got 4 years of eligibility.
Nice.
And he's a world champion. And then you add in the 2024 class of Penn State is the #1 recruiting class in the nation. Because a kid from that recruiting class, Luke Lillidahl, who goes to Wyoming Seminary in Pennsylvania, took the silver.
Wow.
Finished second in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and Zach Ryder, another recruit for 24, finished 3rd in the under-17 World Championships. The rich get richer, baby.
Yeah, just ride this wave because it's a historic one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be like Gable after Cale Sanderson finally retires. Penn State fans are going to go in mourning. But hey, who knew?
Yeah,
you knew Cale was arguably the greatest wrestler ever, but he might end up going down as the greatest coach too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, the biggest college streak is the UCLA Bruins basketball team.
Never going to be topped.
I think that in wrestling, that's what Sanderson's right now.
Yeah, I mean, you had. I think Gable won 17 in 21 years.
Mm.
But Cale's heading to that way.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, so it'll be fun. Hey, and we got college footballs on the way.
Yes.
Pro football's on the way.
Yeah. And then we'll just ride that all the way into Christmas.
Yeah.
Nice.
Why not? And then wrestling season starts. You know, that's I really come alive then.
And we're inching close to our 1 year anniversary as a podcast.
Yes, we are coming to it. We got 46 episodes in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting there, my friend. Six episodes away from a year. Pop the champagne.
That's right.
And we appreciate everybody listening every Wednesday. We do. You know that. How about it, Kenny?
Oh, definitely. Yes.
So, all right. That's going to about wrap it up for us. Do you have anything else you'd like to say, Ken?
Just enjoy the weekend. We're 1 week closer to everything going off, and high school football next week. Go out, support your local high school, and enjoy it.
You bet. Nothing like that opening week kickoff. I used to get so excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's going to wrap up the press box tonight. For Kenny Varner, I am Brian Carson. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate it. Like I said, next week we're going to try to get Shane Breon, Mifflin County football coach, on. Talk about some pigskin. All right, we'll talk to you later. Take it easy. Goodbye.
Good night, everybody.